Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Empower podcast. This is episode 43, Return of Logan. Hello, Logan.
Hello.
Welcome back. Thanks for coming to us. Let's look here. Hold on, folks. And while we're looking, if you can go ahead and follow, like, subscribe, go ahead and look us up on all your various platforms of choice. We had October 3rd.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Literally 2 months.
Yep.
Over 2 months. That's awesome. So yeah, didn't know if you want to start off here. If those who don't know, Empower podcast run by healthcare professionals for healthcare professionals, with an overall goal of raising transparency and awareness, not alone, but together as a community, and to help with goals such as having legislation passed in the state of Colorado and throughout the whole United States and beyond, providing employee wellness programs, which can have 3 parts so far, minimum of 8 wellness days per quarter for all healthcare professionals. The minimum deposit into an HSA account per quarter that is tax exempt at the federal, state, and local levels, and the establishment of a third-party run anti-retaliation department in each healthcare system. Let's see here, 1 second. And if you haven't checked out, we have now over 40 as of this upcoming Tuesday, and you're probably hearing this on that Tuesday. We now will have 43 episodes of Empower available to the public. Go ahead and check those out. But didn't know if you want to kick us off, Logan. If you want to, for those who haven't heard of Logan too, if you can give us background on your occupation, what part of healthcare you come out of, and then we're going to go into the community. Thank you.
Yep. My name's Logan. I'm a STNA in Northeast Ohio.
All right. And then, is there anybody you'd like, or any organizations or anything at this time that you'd like to acknowledge or thank that have truly made a real difference in your life, your career, your shift? Yes.
Got a couple people. I got a nurse I work with, Jess, and another aide I work with, Justin. They are big parts of my shift, and they make my shift go by like a breeze.
Oh my gosh. I can hear it in your voice as you're saying it, Logan. I can totally hear it. And I pick a part of the show, I say, Brett, does this guest make you feel empowered? And yes, Logan, you make me feel empowered. Thank you.
Amen.
I dig it. All right. So I didn't know if we want to approach. We had spoken prior. You had some structure yourself. Didn't know. We can go into it whatever way on the 2 topics. We have integrity of healthcare for you. And let's see here. What in your opinion is happening in healthcare?
Excuse my language, but it's a shit show.
Yeah.
So currently at my job, we have state in, and the amount of cover-ups is ridiculous. I think we have about 16, 17 citations from state right now, and everyone, including management's like rushing to fix stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like we didn't have supplies for a wound vac, so we got written up for that. There was serving moldy bread at dinner time. It's just getting ridiculous, you know?
Mm-hmm. And all these are citations that you shouldn't have to worry about on your own shift. It sounds to me like a lot of it is more the responsibility of the facility, right? And the accountability is there, not your staff, not your management, right? If we could have some distinctions here, I don't know if you want to have some distinctions to raise here for people to know about this kind of stuff. Like, don't get me wrong, there seems to be a lack of integrity somewhere. But where it is at, and I guess for who you feel supported by is my most important part, because I feel like that's what'll have the most overall influence on the patient experience.
I definitely don't feel supported by my management. I'm more supported by the people I work with and my residents.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, management just tries to cover up things as quickly as they can. They wait until the last minute to get supplies. And it hurts me on night shift because the other night I ran out of bed pads. I ran out of fitted sheets. I didn't have nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a pain in the ass.
Was this like a beginning of shift too?
Yeah, very beginning at 7 p.m.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, full night shift. Got it. And we talk about and I know we've had some past guests on too, being set up for success in that. And this is literally within your window for state too, right?
Yeah, state's been here for the past week, and they're going to be here all next week too.
Huh?
And it's not our annual. It's we have 3 people across state on the facility.
Yeah, which there's an open space to be able to do that. You're allowed to
Oh,
be able to
absolutely.
raise transparency and awareness, not only for yourself or others. That's also a part of the patient experience. And
Hmm.
it's not to be a hostile environment created by management. Whenever it's talked about or brought up, it's still a topic, I think, like any other topic that adults can talk about. But yeah, and it's a possibility that can be created, and it's a system that's there. So, and if there's nothing wrong, then there's nothing wrong.
Hmm.
I think it's pretty simple part of being. But wow, moldy bread. Okay.
Yeah.
And is this like already like the enriched, like fortified, preservative, chuck full, like PB&J bread that sits in the containers for who knows how long? Even though by staff now, I'm noticing in some facilities too. I'm getting from other staff, not just ones that I've discussed here, but ones who have even come out of the woodwork as well, where um, there are kitchen staff that are doing stuff and there that used to be there that are not, and now other staff is being held accountable for that kind of stuff. So you have this. I feel what it is you're up against is maybe if I can offer something, Logan, is seeing somebody who's being held accountable for something that they're not trained to do or they
Yeah.
haven't had the proper training to do it. And you know what? I don't want to blame them. They're trying it on, at least, and honestly, it shows. Like that's what happens, and that's what the ratings are for. I mean, at the same time too, I think we're in the middle of an integration of something, and if state's in the building, I'd love for state to be in the building to help with a potential reintegration of other stuff for the overall patient experience as well while they're there, besides the multi bread.
Exactly.
Yeah, even down to the fitted sheet, even
Yeah.
down to the why not look at the assurance of, what I'll never forget was when I worked at a fast food chain. I'm not going to say their name, but when I worked there, and their overall we'll call it state, it wasn't actual state, it was their own, like, higher up that was above my boss, that
Hmm.
would come in, and they would get the container out, they would weigh how much the fries were being wasted to make sure they were being wasted on time, like all this stuff. And I think even making sure people who were underage were going on breaks, that's a big one in that industry, is making sure that can make sure that happens. And
Oh yeah.
there are people who know they'll literally get thrown under the rug because that is illegal, and then I hate to say it, but in today's world, it's interesting to see that integration. And then there's people talking about AI, which is a whole other story, and the integration of that. But
Mhm.
yeah, I know, and seeing the recreation with that. But to see these basic needs being met, even food, because it's amazing for me to see too in these facilities, Logan, if I can share this, how much they're paying a month and the food that they're getting. Like I could literally go probably to a local food store and buy exactly what it is that they're getting, and probably still have however much. Like I would love to just do the overall how much I pay for rent, how much I pay for that versus, and this is where they're probably gonna, and people who are listening potentially will go, yeah, but then there's the integration of healthcare, Brett. There's the integration of healthcare. You're exactly right. There's the integration of healthcare at home too. There's the integration of healthcare at an outpatient clinic as well. People can still eat the same applesauce, eat the same pudding, eat the same yogurt, crush it up exactly the same with their home crusher, because they don't like pills or they do like pills, regardless of what it is for those needs. I just, it doesn't compute with me either. Like, even some of the food that I've seen on trays since the beginning of my career, for what it is people are paying a month, for what people are paying in the hospital too. And it is portioned. I get that. And you're
Yeah.
supposed to portion it out. That is health and wellness. And
Yeah.
I've even seen, I'll never forget this. This is an outreach to a healthcare system in Akron. At least this was back when I was a transporter. That was around 2013, and a little bit on. But was to see that they did have like vegetarian options for those of different ethnic backgrounds, and those from different countries, and those who were vegetarian and vegan. And they had those options. You just had to ask, but they didn't advertise them on the menu a whole lot. It was like in small font towards the bottom, which is almost like, I feel like, in a discouragement on the experience. If you're supposed to
Hmm.
be there, why not have a meal that you're looking forward to? Besides a grilled cheese that is literally this fortified bread you're talking about with American cheese and a ham.
Ham if you're lucky.
Yeah, and you know why it's that way? Is so it can stay on the shelf in the back. They have these, I've seen this too, GFS. You can see them, folks. If you don't know what GFS is, or your local food store, there's locals like, and I get it. There's the pudding, and they go through so much pudding, they put it into a huge, like, into a can.
Mm-hmm.
When did we as humans put that into cans? Oh my god! I mean, I get spam. Spam's been there. I get that, but like pudding, man, I'd never seen that until I started working in healthcare. I not, and
You're not wrong.
it's not the can that you open up like you get right off the shelf. It's the big one. You have like a special opener in a culinary kitchen, and if you know what I mean, you know what I mean. And you have to know how to work it. And I used to actually use that one to open up cans of beans when I used to work at work. People who are listening here are like, Brett, I know Brett used to eat beans. Yeah, for those who know me, that's okay. I get it. But yeah, no. And we're it's, I don't know. I honestly feel, I'm just gonna share it. I feel like you're on the front lines, literally being, aging within healthcare. You're given the rationed food that lasts forever because you're lasting forever. And I'm not here to bash or be mean or be disrespectful, but like, come on. Why not integrate like a farm in the background of this? Oh, well, then we have, Brett, you have to listen here. We have health issues here. We have all, okay, well, invent possibility beyond that. What's the quality of life? There's statistics out that show a beekeeper is one of the hobbies that have the people that live the longest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I can only imagine other hobbies, growing all other kinds of plants. What about people who have house plants? Let's look at their quality of life from those who even know how to do it correctly. I don't think we have good statistics right now because a lot of people, and it's not to put down, it's just society. I feel we're so rushed we can't even keep up with a house plant.
I'll tell you what, though, in nursing, your life expectancy goes way down.
That's where it's
Because of how
about.
stressful the job is.
Yeah, and then there's about balance, and there are great, and there's management too out the abilities of being able to look out for their own mental health and wellness, and that's something I think that will trickle down. And people have said, "Oh, there's the term trickle down." Okay, Reagan. All right, I'm not throwing it out that way. If those who are listening, I'm throwing that out there because I know there are people who are out there, but that's not the fact. Is I think it's a good influence if I can offer that in language. It's good influence to see management that has that ability to have that quality of life to extend out to go and do that, and also to look out for that of the other employees that are there beyond just call offs, beyond being able to take PTO approved. I think it's more of an extension of something beyond that. I feel like that system is good. It works. Let's recreate. Let's add on. Yeah.
Yeah.
What else did you? Yeah. Did you have anything else you wanted to talk about?
Well, so the administrator is in charge of the whole building, right?
Hierarchy wise, from what I've seen, yeah, that's one of the areas. Yeah, you go above
Yeah.
DON. Yeah.
So our ADON got walked out the other day, and our DON is getting demoted to ADON. And my question is, why are they being punished, but the administrator is off scot-free?
So check this out. I know that there is at a facility in Colorado that it's this weird fusing. There's like a paradigm shift. I think like there's the overall DON where I had worked at. She has taken on the 35 deficiencies, and she's recreated, and she's going on vacation, which is awesome. And I've definitely acknowledged her for that, and I think that's a great example. But yeah, it's interesting to see that the story is very similar, regardless of location.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, wow. So yeah, ADON walked out. I get that. I mean that I can only imagine how often that's been happening throughout history and in which way, but to what degree now.
Seems like
And the interesting part is, I feel statistically, these are the facilities, and I want to extend out because a wise nurse once told me this. She's the one who's literally, I feel, recreating and becoming an administrator and also a DON at the same time. Is it's the overall, like, I feel like outreach is being able to have that overall extension, I think, of being able to have that support system from upper management and the presence of that and the difference that it makes, and also the absence and the absence that, and the absence and the impact the absence makes, right? Huh.
yeah, I can agree with those points.
Mm-hmm.
So recently we had a resident
Mm-hmm.
like go off on one of the night shift nurses,
Okay.
So we sent him out through Psych 360.
Hold on. Alert and oriented times like 4.
Apparently.
Okay. Okay.
So I was outside taking a break, and my nurse texted me to come to the nurse's station now. I walk in, and the resident is at the nurse's station with his hands across the nurse's station, screaming and yelling at the nurse. And she's just a little thing. And this resident's in like his 50s. He can do some damage. He's a bigger guy. And my nurse is a tiny girl. So we sent him out. It took 4 cops and 2 EMTs to get him out of the building. And the administration said that they weren't going to take him back, or if they did, that he was going to be on a lockdown unit for staff safety. Right?
Right.
So he comes back about 4 days later, and they put him right back into the assisted living hall. And they aren't moving him. They made him sign a contract stating that he would be good towards the staff. But my nurse she did not want to return and go through all of that over again, so she promptly resigned.
Wait, what?
Yeah, she quit because they put him right back in the same room he's been in, and
yeah,
it's crazy.
And they didn't abide by.
They did not, because before, about 6 months ago, we had a resident that wasn't even as bad as he is. They sent her out to Psych 360 and just didn't take her back.
Now, I'm not familiar. For those who are listening, what is Psych 360?
Psych 360 is like for my work at least, like an emergency psych eval.
Like a triage, almost?
Kinda.
Okay.
They go to psych, and they're there for at least 72 hours.
Oh, the whole... And then they can get pink slipped, potentially, right? Is that it?
Yeah. They'll either come back with medication to help them, or they'll have to go to a different facility, specifically for psych.
Okay.
But it just amazes me that my work, rather than providing staff safety, they let the resident come back and let him into like the normal population of the facility. And this resident has been doing this for months. He's been caught sexually harassing other nurses and aides.
And has been charted and passed along.
It's been charted.
Yeah.
He sits up at the nurse's station, so me and the other aide and nurse can't do our job because he'll sit and lean across the nurse's station while we're doing our charting, and that's a huge HIPAA violation.
Yeah, 120%. I would. How do you respond to that?
Well, we started telling them, you can't lean over the nurse's station while we're working. We can't discuss resident care. We can't chart with him leaning over like that. So we just asked him to at least take a couple steps back and chill out. And this is all night. Like, this is from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m.
Oh, he does not sleep. Hold on. Oh, my gosh. Okay, so this reminds me of another patient I've had in my career, too. So, okay, very smart. Yeah, system uses the call light incorrectly, right?
No, he doesn't use his call light. He yells from his room.
Yells. Okay, I had one that was on event that was similar. I'll never forget him. He actually tried to, and they actually had a back scratcher. I never forget. Same nurse we were talking about earlier. She was there, too, to literally discuss with him the situation once he got his back scratch taken away, because he literally wound it up and stopped just shy of my arm, and I was like, you won't have that by the time I come back for my next shift. I was like, I'm not working with you doing that. And I literally, I filed a police report, and you're allowed to do that with residents regardless of what's going on, because he was A&O times 4. Literally, the guy's drinking. He got an order from the doctor to be able to drink cherry cola. He's expired now, but literally while he was on event, like, was ordering it on Amazon, would have it shipped. This guy was A&O times 4, like, with it. And would literally, he was a troublesome patient. And some people, they are. And you know what those are? You have to embrace them and know that. And did he have a whole lot of visitors? Maybe one, since the whole time I ever worked there. One. So he's probably just scared. And some people are just scared to death. And the interesting part is you go in there and he's listening to the Bible channel. He has like 3 or 4 different volumes of different Bibles on his shelf in there. And then you go in there and he's cussing you out. So yeah, It's an interesting way to know that that's kind of, for those who are listening and those who are thinking about going into healthcare, don't let this just sway you either. Because you can take a stance. You have the resilience right now. If you look and you see it and you feel it, and you're going to run against these people. And these are, honestly, I think if I can offer this from what it is discussion we're getting, he is still one of the top like 5 people. Not that you will ever have tops. Don't even let them know that. But he is. He definitely set a definite amount of career to let me know my resilience was. If I have to recreate and look at it now, it wasn't the fact that he was one of the top 5. It was the fact that he showed me the overall value and impact that I could have by being resilient to those situations and staying empowered too. Because when you give in to those situations, that's what feeds it. That's literally what that some of them are looking for. And if you keep and you be like a normal adult and you treat them as if you would treat everybody else, because they do. I feel like sometimes they're looking for special treatment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or look that they may get a rise out of whoever, and it's like, okay, and when they don't get that, that's not what happens anymore. Sorry, Charlie. Sorry, Jane. Sorry, Karen. Sorry, whoever. Not to put names on and make them mean. But yeah. Sorry, Brett. Sorry, Logan.
This resident's a whole different animal than that.
Yeah. I can only imagine.
It got so bad to the point we started charting how many times the station. He has an order to go outside for fresh air, and every time I take him out there, he would just bash the facility, bash the coworkers.
Mm-hmm.
I just ignore it because they're the work, not they're the,
Yeah. And sometimes your presence is probably making more of a difference to him than you realize too. It may not
I don't
look.
know. He's threatened to have me fired a couple times.
Oh, of course. Yeah. You know what's interesting? I think everybody says I love you differently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. So he comes back, and then he starts talking his smack, saying, "Oh, the nurse quit because of me because she's a whining bitch."
Mm-hmm.
And all that. And granted, this is my favorite nurse. This is Pam, the nurse I mentioned in the last video.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, when I came back in and saw him yelling at her, she's like shaking behind the nurse's station. Like she's traumatized. Like it was awful.
Mm.
And this, like I said, this resident's been caught sexually harassing residents and staff. He has had a resident blow him in the middle of the hallway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He put curses or hexes on nurses. Like, for example, Pam, he put a hex on her saying that her brakes are going to give out in her car.
Huh.
Like he clearly needs more psych help than what we can provide at my facility.
Yeah.
It's just the fact that the facility took him back and left him on the assisted living hall.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Like I said, this dude's only in his 50s. He's times 4.
Yeah.
He can walk. He can talk. Like, this dude, if he made a mad, he could do some real damage. And it just brings up those safety concerns that I mentioned.
Yeah.
What if he does hit someone and no one's there?
Well, I mean, there's probably facility policy on how to handle this. It's just it hasn't been exercised in a while, and I've noticed this, and it's still a concern. And I think your concern isn't. It is probably other coworkers, but still other residents too.
That too, yeah.
Do you know if it was potentially mentioned at state too? I'm sure they're aware that he's there. If he's,
oh yeah,
yeah, I was gonna say they probably do a full pull. So I don't know. Sometimes it's literally like if they're Medicare, all right, well, all bets are off, and it's not to put it in a terrible way. I think it's to see in which way people recreate it and look at it. Because I don't know, there may be a whole agenda that we don't even know about with him, of things in enablement that have happened prior, and now it's not happening, and he's so very used to that, and it's to the point where it's literally making hexes onto someone's brakes. I mean, wow.
He's always has that God complex when it comes to being there. Like he thinks he runs the place.
Okay.
He's claims multiple times that he can get anyone fired there. I've gotten written up because of him, but
So he creates a hostile environment, it sounds like, too.
he really does.
Yeah. You just go in and you're there to have a good shift, to be able to help out, recreate, and then it's negative energy. That's what it sounds
It very
like,
much
too.
is.
Yeah. Wow. I'm sure there's a lot more going on or that has gone on. There's so much, I think, that is undeclared that we see at the surface. Only just a bit of what's truly going on in someone's head. So, um, wow. I want to offer this to you and your resilience, Logan, to that,
Hmm.
because there are those difficult patients that are out there when we all have them in whatever way that they come out, and they have an impact sometimes, on the overall compassion that you can give to someone. They challenge it and they try to challenge it, and it's potentially their own. I don't know what their reflections are, but you're on the receiving ends of their projections. That's what they are. And to see that that's what it is you're potentially up against, and that's their upset and not yours. Because sometimes I've noticing this. Sometimes when people are down in the dumps, they want to drag you down there with them, and
Yeah.
you have your own adult decision as to whether or not you want that to happen, and what that looks like is what that looks like. That's all I can really say. Some people will take offense, can take it personal, X, Y, and Z. But what it looks like, it looks like. And what comes out of that is just what comes out of that. And I'm glad that people are doing their due diligence and you have charted on it, and that there's that open communication for that about this patient. There's no play against staff, because some of these patients will do stuff like that. From the way that you're saying that they'll play one staff member against another and they'll try it out. And it's just a weed out. You just say, like, in a report, hey, this is what happened. Like they're trying to, I feel like that they're trying to do this, and just share your feelings and see what happens. And I think that makes a total difference.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And it's interesting too. I'm noticing this about some patients, even the dementia patients. I talked about it at work. Is some of them are finally saying, at least at this time of the year, and this is all theory on the neural networks and whatnot, is because we're approaching the holiday season or winter time. I wonder if there's a stimulation for family or belonging, and when it's not there, because I've had a resident that was like that realized that her mom died, and I was like, and she was like, yeah, I was looking forward to going to the holidays with her, and it's like, hold on, so you're back here, you don't know what year it is. Like, I literally cross-examined the whole thing. Why not? The one thing you do remember is the holiday season is coming up and your mom is dead. Got it. See what I'm saying? I know it may be interest stuff and I may be sitting there, but I think all this stuff could line up. Some people, they did. I mean, they may have gotten inebriated a whole lot around the holiday season, and then they're back on a dementia unit now and they're aggressive only around this time of the year. And it makes sense, right? Like, if you know that, and you know what? I have to offer this as a possibility. That may be a situation that you may be experiencing. And this is and we all know statistically, I feel if we don't, this is the most stressful time with a stressful season of the whole year. It's been found statistically. Rates of suicide, rates of stress go through the
Everything
roof.
goes up.
Yeah, and I think it's something to have knowledge, and then there's something to have the distinction of knowledge and action, right? Knowing that this is the way, which is knowledge, and then the actions to take for that. So for those who don't know, take your vitamin D to help out because there is not as much sun. Go ahead, go out for a walk if it's nice out. For some reason, I just was seeing online, I believe 2023 is the hottest year in existence. Theory, check that out. So yeah, you might be able to go out for a walk and check out right here in Northeast Ohio. It's 37, high of 49, low of 34 right now. Currently sitting at 1238. All right, Logan, this has been a journey so far with part one, right? Part
Yeah.
one. We're going to have a part two. Part two is coming.
I mean, if you really think about it, it's technically part 3.
It is technically part 3. Oh my gosh. I dig it. I didn't know if did you want to include a empowering quote?
Yeah, sure, I can do that.
Okay.
All right. Well, just remember, everyone, no one is perfect, but you are the perfect you because only you can be you. End quote.
I dig it. And for those, again, this has been episode 43, Return to Logan Part 1. And in this day and age, again, we need to be more conscious of our health choices and demand transparency from those powers that be, just as we explore the depths of our own minds through our overall interactions with the patient experience and our coworkers, we can delve into the world of healthcare and demand to know what's going on behind those closed doors. So we can channel our inner cosmic explorer too and look for those other potential possibilities of being able to make not only the best decisions for ourselves, but the well-being, if we can, for those who may not have a voice. So stay curious, stay empowered, and thank you all very much.
And
Thank you,
happy
Logan.
holidays.
Yep, and happy holidays. And bye for now.